Welcome to Meet Your Neighbor. I'm Emma Coleman, and I'm here with my guest today, Lee Webb, who is a resident at Cypress Cove. So you've led a pretty interesting life. Tell me a little bit about that. How did it start?
I was very young. I don't remember the beginning, but I was born in Fairmont, West Virginia in 1944.
And how was that for you?
Cold.
Cold.
It snows there. They're in the snow belt area.
So after West Virginia, where did you go from there?
My family moved to Massachusetts when my dad got back from World War II. And I've been in Massachusetts for the next half century or so.
Okay, and how do you like Massachusetts?
Massachusetts was a great place to live and work. It was a dynamic and interesting state. A lot of things to do. We had mixed terrain, unlike Florida. I was near the ocean. We had mountains to the west. We had beaches to the east.
Why don't you have a Boston accent or like a, Massachusetts accent or something?
There's no good explanation for that. I guess it was trained out of me in the service.
Okay. So you were in the service.
Mm-hmm.
How long was that?
I was on active duty for just about 4 years. And when I left active duty, then I went into the insurance industry.
And what war were you fighting? I think it was Vietnam, you said? Right?
That's right.
And, what'd you do there?
I was an armor platoon leader, or a platoon leader in a Cav squadron initially. And then I became a transportation corps officer for the last part of my tour.
That's cool. And then you were in insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Where was...
Yep. I ran an insurance agency in Peabody, Massachusetts for close to 24 years.
Okay. And how did you like that?
That was a remarkable industry. It was a general insurance agency. We dealt with primarily property and casualty insurance for both individuals and businesses.
So then, after insurance, what did you do from there?
I became a flight instructor.
Oh, wow.
And eventually migrated to Florida, looking for better weather, more opportunity. And the last part of my work was at Delta Connection Academy in Sanford, Florida. When I was there, it was Comair Aviation Academy, then became Delta Academy. And we were essentially a vocational school for pilot training. We took people like you, just completed high school in some cases, and helped them become airline pilots. Others were career change folks, military retirees, people that cut off military service, came to the academy, and they wanted to be airline pilots, so we helped them. We could start a person as a private pilot at the beginning and bring them right up through instructor pilot. Then, if they were following the curriculum at the academy, they worked there for a year as instructors. And at the end of that time, they'd interview with airlines and get hired.
Oh, cool. So how long, if you were interested in piloting, why weren't you in the Air Force or something like that?
I wear glasses.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Wow.
And have for a long time. So there was no hope for me in the Air Force.
Did you want to be in the Air Force, though?
No, I wanted to be in Army Aviation, but they didn't want me at that time because of the glasses.
So you mentioned before that you are an outdoors guy. What do you like to do outdoors?
I ski or have skied. I sail. I fly.
So you sail, you fly, you ski, and then you mentioned you like to do photography kind of as a hobby?
That's in or out.
Right, and you canoe. So you're an
adventure person.
Yeah, person. That's cool. You mentioned that you attended Peabody High School.
That's right.
And it was a little different at the time.
Different than what you know in this high school at this time. It's difficult for me to relate my experience to what's going on now, because the entire educational structure, the way of doing things in schools, was completely different.
Right.
Everything, I think, is now changed. For instance, we had bolt-to-the-floor desks. Every guy, person, student had a desk bolted to the floor. The chair was bolted to the floor, and you made it fit somehow. Now, the fat kids had a little bit of a problem, but, and the short people, those who were height challenged,
Right.
had a little bit of a problem. Right up through high school, every classroom was set up exactly that way. Row of desks and chairs. There would be a teacher's desk, and there would be usually a work table of some sort. And that was the classroom. We had chalkboards, blackboards, and things like this facility that we're in right now are completely unheard of. When I went, well, matter of fact, television wasn't very widespread at that time.
So it seemed like it was more of a disciplinary kind of school. Like it taught you discipline. Is that what it did?
It lended itself to that, yes.
Right. Okay. So it's definitely different from this high school.
Yep.
No bolted desks, no bolted chairs, nothing.
Nope.
But then I think it probably helped you then in the Army. You already knew like how to take orders and commands and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
The whole world did at that time. It was a different
Different time.
different lifestyle, different
Right.
education, background, experience that everybody brought to it. And that was the accepted way of education at that time.
Okay. Were you involved in any sports?
Not other than skiing, not really.
No, nothing else in high school?
Nope, I avoided that. I worked. I had part-time jobs from sophomore year through graduation.
And you mentioned that you like to ski a lot in New Hampshire. What
Yep.
drew you to New Hampshire? What was so interesting about New Hampshire?
That's where the hills were,
Yeah.
and that was far closer than Western Massachusetts for me.
And it's like super pretty there.
It is.
Cool. And you mentioned that you have two sisters. Were you guys close? when you were
Yes,
growing up?
we grew up together, went to the same great elementary school at that time, which was 1 through 8. I don't believe there was kindergarten at that time.
Right.
One of my sisters might have done kindergarten, but not the other. And then we went on to high school.
And then you also said that you went on to college and you attended a school in Vermont, I think.
That's right. I attended Norwich University.
And how was that experience for you? Was it fun?
That was a fascinating experience. Norwich is a military school. So my career, if you will, in the military started immediately after high school with Norwich University. And I attended there for 4 years, and I was active in various school programs that we had going on.
Is that where you got your ring?
That's a school ring.
That is really cool. I like it. So you grew up in kind of a, it seems like a very close family.
At that time,
At
we
the
were.
time,
Yeah.
and you enjoyed skiing and doing a bunch of stuff, so that's pretty cool. I like that. And then you attended the University in Vermont, and then you moved.
Norwich University.
Norwich
Two different
University,
places.
Sorry. But it was located in Vermont. Though.
It is located in
and
Vermont.
why'd you move? Did you just not like it there? Or?
When?
You moved after college, right?
Oh, I went on active duty in the Army
Right.
immediately after graduation. As I recall, I had about a week to get from the end of school, drop off my school stuff, and relocate to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I reported to Fort Knox, I think, the 6th of June that year. And I can't remember what day graduation was, but it was right in there, end of May.
Did you go to any other places than just Fort Knox?
I was assigned at Fort Knox to the Armor School. From there, Fort Carson, Colorado, Colorado Springs.
Oh yeah.
And from there, a short time at School of the Americas in Panama.
Oh, wow, Panama?
And then, yep, we ran a school down there at that, or the Army ran a school down there at that time. I believe the post is still there. I don't know what they're using it for. And from there to Vietnam, and of course we have very few people in Vietnam now. And then after Vietnam, back to Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Wow, so you traveled everywhere.
Not yet.
Well, you
But I'm
traveled a
working
lot
on
of
it.
places. You've traveled a lot of places.
I was very fortunate.
What was your favorite fort to be stationed at? I mean, which place did you enjoy the most?
I should have enjoyed Fort Carson a whole lot more than I did.
Right.
I was young and ignorant when I was there, and I missed a whole lot of opportunity there. I enjoyed Fort Hood, Texas, quite a lot.
Oh, really?
I didn't get there till I was older, and then over only briefly, but it's quite a boast.
And did you enjoy Panama at all, or was it just all right?
My experience in Panama was as a student in the School of the Americas. I spent 2 glorious weeks romping through the jungles of Panama and swimming in its rivers, and learned quite a lot about snakes and leeches. Panama was not a fun time. Got sunburnt like you wouldn't believe.
That sounds horrible. If you don't like the woods, or not the woods, the Amazon, then